How you doing, everybody? Tim here once again. It's a view from the South Stands. I'm coming to you on Sunday afternoon, the day after TFC's solid win against the Chicago Fire. 3-2 was the final. And I'm going to get to a former TFC designated player, Gilberto, right off the top in just a second. But before I do, I want to say well done to our three designated players who had standout moments yesterday. It was good to see Greg Vanney playing Jozy Altidore a little more in the middle, more of a conventional 4-4-2. Having him out on the wing in some of the games that we've lost coming up to this homestand has been, and of course in the New England game where we lost at home as well. To me, tactical neophyte that I am, it just seemed to be a very, very disappointing choice of how to use the resources at hand. So it's nice to see that worked, and it's also nice to see that Altidore scored the winner. It's nice to see Michael Bradley doing his thing, scoring a box-to-box goal, a real box-to-box midfielder type of a goal, where he ran through from the top of the center box, pretty well right through to the top of the box, and scored a wonderful goal to give TFC second. But I've got to start out, and I'm going to get to Gilberto in a second, but I want to talk about Sebastian Giovinco. First off, the goal that was scored in the 29th minute to draw TFC level 1-1 was the most miraculous goal I've seen at BMO Field, scored by anybody, home or away. And I'm including the Dicchio, half-field volley. I'm including the Laurent Robert free kick, if you remember that one, the one and only time he scored for Toronto FC. Some of D-Row shake and bakes as well. Nothing I've seen comes close to that. Now, they scored the goal. It was a free kick. The ball was cleared by the Chicago defenders. It came back to Giovinco almost on the back touchline, and he shot a little looping ball with his off foot, a little chip that went right into the back of the net. The scorers say that Osorio touched it on the way in. Osorio himself says that he didn't. But in any case, they gave Seba the assist, and now he's set a record that was held by Chris Wondolowski, I think, from 2010 or 2011, his miraculous sort of breakout season with San Jose. This is the most points, goals, and assists that any player in the history of Major League Soccer has scored in a single season. And last time I looked, TFC has 4 games to go. We've got Philly, we've got New York, we've got Columbus, and then we've got Montreal away. And I'm going to talk about Montreal in a minute as well. But I want to go back to Gilberto. Some mixed feelings about him in the stands. We had some, standard TO reject chants, which we do a lot because there's been a lot of TO rejects over the years. A lot of players have come through the doors at BMO Field and the Kia training ground over the years. Gilberto probably felt really hard done by. We all know the circumstances, of course. Sort of the unwritten part of the story is that in order for us to get rid of Jermaine Defoe, we probably had to take Jozy Altidore. That was probably the price of doing business. And when that happened, of course, Gilberto had to leave. He had to go back home, had a very unsuccessful period on loan, and now he's back in Major League Soccer with due respect to Chicago, one of the weaker teams and one of the less, probably one of the less attractive sides to play for. So what does he do? Gilberto, what does he do? He comes and he scores 2 goals and almost scores 3 for Chicago against Toronto FC. And looking at his face, he had some glee in scoring those goals. And I think, I'm quite happy that TFC is in the playoff hunt, and we're going to get some playoffs this year. And maybe we'll get a home game, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. But what I was thinking about the minute I saw Gilberto, especially on that first goal where he spread his wings and did his little flying thing, he's flying along in the north end of the stadium like he used to do for us, is the glee that a lot of players that have played here get when they come back and score against Toronto FC. And I think the glee that they get is a little disproportionate to what other teams suffer in this league when players come back and score against them. And I think that says a lot about, at least up to now, how absolutely poorly and ineptly Toronto FC has been run over the years. And I think that's certainly an indictment. And let's hope that the days of of players getting a lot of glee, former players getting a lot of glee coming back here, come to an end. Let's hope that the new regime that's in place right now, is a little more professional than what's come in past years. But enough about the opponents. Seba 2 assists yesterday, Bradley a goal, Altidore the winning goal. The designated players took the team by the scruff and got us across the finish line again yesterday. Now we've got Philadelphia Union coming on Saturday, and Philly, of course, a bottom feeder in the East. Just like we had Chicago, who had to play a midweek game in Montreal, coming in here on early Saturday afternoon. Not the ideal set of circumstances for the opposition. Once again, Toronto FC is going to be a beneficiary, I should say, to a schedule sort of quirk, because the Philadelphia Union is playing in the U.S. Open Cup final this coming Wednesday, I believe, against DC United, and we'll talk about DC in a second as well. So Philly has put all of their eggs in one basket for this season because they're not making the playoffs. If they win the U.S. Open, they get into the Champions League, I believe. I think that's the carrot at the end of the rainbow, and of course it's a trophy, not to be discounted. Of course, I'm one of these believers in trophies above all. So they're going to be coming in here on Saturday either on a high and tired, or on a low and tired after a midweek exertion. So once again, Toronto FC has the cards in their favor next Saturday afternoon at BMO Field. Now the schedule for the run-in and what's happening around us is starting to get really, really interesting. This morning I was looking on the MLS website and I was looking at the conference table, and it is interesting reading. Let me tell you that. I'm looking at it right now. Columbus Crew, 47 points on 31 games played. DC United, 45 points on 31 played. And DC, by the way, they've actually lost 5 and won one game and drawn one game in the last 6. So they haven't won since August, I believe. They're in the U.S. Open Cup this coming week as well, so they're actually struggling. Then we've got TFC, of course, on 43 points, and we've got Montreal on 42 with a game in hand. So Montreal, they've been keeping it going as well, and they're doing it on the back of one Didier Drogba, who's now got 7 goals in 6 starts, or 6 appearances, I should say, for the Montreal Impact. DC United, again, they're sort of in collapse mode right now. It's not outside of the realm of possibility that DC United could fall behind either the Impact or Toronto FC. TFC could make 5th, could make 4th place, could even make 3rd place if Columbus sort of stumbles as well, depending upon what Toronto does, because Toronto plays Columbus here at BMO Field in a couple of weeks. So where are we now? We've got Philly next. We've got an opportunity to keep the ball rolling, keep the pressure on the opposition around us, and put a team to the sword that really put paid to any hopes that we had of a playoff appearance last year. So it's time to put the boots to the Philly Union this coming Saturday, and let's hope that Toronto FC can do what they did yesterday, next Saturday against the Philadelphia Union, with a lot less drama than they did yesterday. So thank you very much for watching. Come on, you Reds. And I'll have another video up next week after TFC's hopeful victory against the Philly Union. Thanks for watching.